What's up guys, it's Naive Team Leader. Today I have my second place in-person locals Dragon Dead profile, and I also got third place at remote locals with this, a very similar list to this. So I just wanted to show this since I did get requested to put this on my channel. So this is the profile. Now before I actually show you the actual cards I played, I just want to mention a few things. First off, just because I do well at a locals or like at a tournament does not mean that I'm posting the list. I only post my list whenever I want to or I get requested to. Like, I wasn't sure if I was gonna post this to my channel, but I got requested for it, so I wanted to make sure to do it just to respect their opinion. I was like, yeah, that's fine, since I have the time to do it. Also, second thing, the reason I have not too many videos is because I privated some of my older ones, and I just left a few that I liked to stay posted. So if you want me to do more videos, just make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and just say, hey, I would like to see more videos, and I'll do more videos. But I really only do videos if I'm really motivated to do so. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get into the profile. So I played 4 normal summons, and 2 of those were Seyfert. Seyfert's really good since it can search any dragon in your deck. A play I really like is going Seyfert, attributing Chaos Ruler to search Levy, or if you opened Chaos Space in Seyfert, what you can do is you can do Chaos Space Ball Boggy to Romulus, and you can go, or a Seal, whichever, depends on what your hand is and how you're playing it, but you can go normal summon Seyfert, tribute the level 4 you added, off of your last add, off of the baby dragons, then you can search Tracer, which is really cool to do. Yeah, he's just really strong, and he can search any dragon in your deck, basically. Now, he isn't great in a duel or gamma, so that's the worst part about this. But sometimes, you just have to use your Seyfert correctly. Like in certain scenarios, you don't always want to go normal summon Seyfert and tribute for the effect. Like if you have 0 stars in your hand and the only 2 playable cards in your hand are Seyfert and Noctovision, you shouldn't be going normal summon Seyfert, use the effect. Because now if you get ashed or gammaed, you just lose. So instead, you should go normal summon Seyfert, make Striker Dragon, especially Nocto, make Seal, or Romulus, depending on your hand, and then you can get a draw and have interruption. So that would be the better play in that instance. So sometimes, just because you draw this card doesn't mean you should use the effect. Next up, I have Chamber Dragon Maid. You don't really want to normal summon this card, however, it is really good in duel since you can search an interruption after your first search. And Chamber Dragon just is kind of needed in this deck, especially since we have Mystic Mine being played in some people's main decks. So you need the main deck out, like Tiding. But yeah, I really like Chamber, and you really only need 1 of it. 2 and 3, 2 Chamber and 3 Tiding is just not good, it's too clumpy. And you can usually finish games off before you actually use the 3 Tiding. So yeah, I really liked 1 Chamber, and I don't think I'd bump it up. Next, I played Black Metal. Black Metal is the best into playing into duel, since you get your 2 searches of Red MD and Boots to Launch, and you can make Seal. So it's really good in a duel, and it's just a really good normal summon, especially in a DPE, because if you get Pop It, you go 1 for 1, since you just lost a card, but now you switch to Red MD, so that's really strong. It's better into DPE than Seyfert, since if you pop it on summon, you don't get any value out of it. So that's it for my normal summons. It's good to play. If you do want to play this deck, you should try to test this deck. Test this deck with the higher quantity of Black Metals, because Black Metal is really good, and that's what I'm going to be doing in the future. Next up, for the Rocket Monsters, I play 2 Tracer. You don't need 3, because anytime your combo resolves and you have 2 dragons, you get Romulus, and Romulus equals Tracer, so you don't need to have 3 in clump your hand. So yeah, Tracer's really good, you just don't need 3 of the card. I used to play 3, but I found usually I don't actually need the 3rd, and I can just cut it to play more hand traps. Next up is 2 Rocket Synchron. You have to play this card at 2, because you'll usually use 1 to combo and then 1 for follow-up. And it's just an extender in hand if you got the Boots to Launch off of Striker Dragon. So yeah, this card's really good. I love going normal summoning, especially summoning like an Abstract or Noctovision, and then going for a Chaos Ruler play, Savage play, or just summoning an extender to go for game. So Rocket Synchron's really good, and it's just a really good +1. You have to play this card at 2. Then the card that you have to play at 1, and you should never, at least for this format, try to play at more quantities, is Recharger. Recharger's good, but it's not broken, especially since we only have one striker dragon, so we can't just like play this deck as well as we used to, where we could just go normal summon any level 4 dragon, make striker dragon, pop itself, add recharger, special red MD, get another special. So you don't really need more of this quantities, and you don't really want to open this card. It's better just to special summon it off a tracer. Then also, since I mentioned striker dragon, keep in mind that you have to play this deck. Like, this deck actually takes a lot of skill to pilot, is you have to be able to play your grind out and think about how you're going to play your turns out past the current turn you're on, because one striker dragon forces you to think more about your plays. Next up, for some power spells, I have 3 quick launch, which are also tracer access. This card's crazy, being a 1-card Chaos Roar, and it's just a really strong card and one of the best extenders in the deck. Then definitely for one of the best starters is Chaos Space. This card is terrible in a Joel, but if you don't have Joel, you just go +5 with this card. This card is insane. Then of course, to go with the Chaos Space, you have the Black Dragon Collapse Serpent and the White Dragon Wyvern Burster. So these cards are really good. This card's just another extender in the deck, even if you don't draw Chaos Space, which is good. And then Collapse Serpent, it has utility. Since you're playing light hand traps, you can send it. You can like send the Veiler from your hand on your opponent's turn, then you special summon Black Dragon in combo, even if you didn't like have an actual Light Dragon in your hand. So that's really strong, and you have to keep in mind that if you play this deck, you need to be playing light hand traps, so you can banish them for Collapse Serpent and Chaos Roar. Also, keep in mind, sometimes you don't want to put back the baby dragons with Chaos Space, because you need to put back the Striker Dragon for follow-up plays. So keep that in mind when you play this deck. For some more extenders, I play Red MD, Apps Router, and 3 Nocta Vision. Nocta Vision is really strong because it allows you to chain block the Striker Dragon, so they can't Ash it. And Nocta Vision is just really good because not only is it a special summon, but then you also get to draw 1 card once it's linked off. So I really like Nocta Vision. You can play this card at 2, but I really think it's better just to play 3 because you want to draw this card in every single opening hand. Then the 2 Apps Router, you need to, because you just have good discard outlets like Dragon Ravine, Safer, and Chaos Space in this card, and just search your rockets and just go plus. Apps Router can also be used as an extender if you have control rockets, just special summon it, so that's really good. You usually just need 2, 1 for Romulus and 1 for Seals, just for grind games. And then Red MD. Red MD is your search target off a Black Metal Dragon, and it's just really strong, just being able to special summon a dragon from your hand or a grave. So usually this card will bait Interruption. And yeah, I just really like this card. And sometimes in control matchups, you might want to just like leave this card up instead of like linking it off or something. So like every turn, they have to keep in mind that there's a 28 attack, 24 defense body on the field that's just special summoning a dragon from your grave every turn. So yeah, you can play really smart with this card. Then I play 1 Levy. You can recycle this card off of the 2 Safers, and I've never missed having a 3rd Safer to add this card back, because by the time you've resolved this card just twice, you're already winning the game, to be honest. And it's just a good extender in your hand, and it can just, the hand ripping is just really good, making your opponent start on 5 cards instead of how they would be playing this 6. It's just really good. And that's not even counting the hand traps that they're neg-1ing on your combos. Then for the 2 field spells, I play Boots to Launch and Dragon Ravine. Both of these are standard, so I'm not going to go over these. Then, like I explained earlier, to Tiding with the Chamber. Now we've gone into the hand traps. The actual Dragon Engine is 28 cards, and the hand trap are 12. So that's a 40 card main deck, and 40 card main decks are always the best because you get to see your actual power cards like Chaos Space and Quick Launch the most. So I play 3 Ash. Ash is terrible this format. However, it's just really generic in every single matchup. So like going into a tournament, it doesn't matter what you play, this card's gonna have usability in every matchup. Now, especially since like Sword Soul's playing like Pot of Desires, which I personally think is better than Prosperity. So Ash is good for the Desires, but yeah. Ash isn't great, but it's just generic. Then I play 3 Valor. Valor is pretty good, especially since it's a light hand trap. So you can search it off Chaos Ruler, banish it off Chaos Ruler, and banish it off Collapse Serpent. Also did it with Chaos Base, so yeah, that's really good. It's just a generic hand trap that's good into a lot of different matchups right now. Then after Valor, I play 3 Imperm. Again, just a generic hand trap. I don't want to play 2 specific hand traps in my main deck in order so I'm not like drawing dead cards into a matchup. So yeah, 3 Imperm was good and 3 Valor is good. And one of the best parts about Imperm is that it's really good in the floodgates. So like I played against somebody flipped Tikaboo against me, and I had the Imperm set, so I was able to negate the Tikaboo 4 turn, which is really strong. So yeah, even if you play a control deck like Eldritch or something, you might not want to side this card out because it can just negate one of their trap cards. So always keep that in mind. Then for the last 3, I play 3 Nibiru. Again, light hand trap like Valor, and I didn't want to lose to like heavy combo decks, so I just wanted to play Nibiru. You can search it off Chaos Ruler, but yeah, it was just a good hand trap. I like the hand traps I played. They were all really generic, and I was always able to play them into every single matchup. Then on for the extra deck, the 1 Striker Dragon. It's kind of sad that we don't have more copies of this card, but it makes sense because the deck is still playable even at 1. But yeah, just playing 1 means that you have to play really smart with it. Then for the Pisty, to be honest, I don't go for the Pisty play a lot, like with the 4 arrows or the 2 arrows with the Triple Burst and the Pisty. Usually, Pisty is just a link body to link off a level 4 lower dragon in order to make sure you don't use your Striker Dragon. So like if you open Boots at your launch in hand, usually it's a better play to go into Pisty instead of Striker Dragon. This way you can hold it for a follow-up. Next up, Romulus and the 2 Seals. Seal is insanely good. Even if we don't have LP, we still have access to special summon from our deck, which is really strong. Romulus, kind of standard. And one of the great things about Seal is sometimes your opponent just doesn't think when they activate Nibiru, and they don't think it through enough, because to be honest, sometimes Nibiru just helps you extend past like plays, because like by tributing Seals, now you just let me special summon a dragon from deck, and that dragon might have been the key dragon that I was missing to be able to extend farther. Like one time I ended on Seals Pass, but then my opponent Nibiru'd me, and I was like, alright, that's fine. I went Seal Effect, summoned Red MD, and then I ended up ending on Hot Red, Savage, Tiding, and they just couldn't play through it. Then Quadroll is really good, especially with all the link monsters. Nothing too much to say about this. You just discard a card, pop a link monster, and the Soul Charge. Then for the last Link 2, I play IP Masquerena. This card's a really good key piece for your inboard, and you'll see the targets that I play later on for it. IP can also be really good into control matchups because you can IP into access code, and then you go main phase, turn player priority, banish something, and then you automatically get a pop. So like that's usually the play you want to do whenever you go into control decks, is go into access code. Then I do indeed play some Link 3s to buff up my access code and just for utility. I play Triple Burst and Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn, like, discard, shuffle back any card, pretty good. Then Triple Burst is really good into the Sky Striker matchup. What most people don't know is this has a Spell Trap Monster Negate in the battle phase. So if you attack over a Sky Striker Ace Link, and they use the Ray effect, you can negate with Triple Burst, which is really strong. So now they have to have like an engage, a normal summon in hand, a Hornet Drones to be able to play next turn. Yeah, and you can go IP into Unicorn, which is also a good play. Then I play Appaloosa. If I was to cut a card, it would probably be Appaloosa. Appaloosa is good because you can IP into it on your opponent's turn, but to be honest, you're just not making this too much of the time. Then Access Code and Bull Sword. Bull Sword's another card that I haven't really been going into a lot. I've mostly been using Access Code Talker instead because like Levy plus Access Code Talker is 8,300 with the Link 3s. So yeah, I mainly use Access Code to OTK instead of the Bull Sword. But if you are on a budget and you don't have the money for Access Code, even considering the reprint, you can always just play Bull Sword. Both work. It's just I've been going for Access Code better. And if you do have Access Code, you can cut Bull Sword for other utility cards you might want to play in the extra deck. Now the last 3 cards are pretty standard. Chaos Ruler, Savage, and Hot Red. Chaos Ruler is definitely the best card into this deck. It just says special summon from grave, mill 5, add 1, like it's crazy. This card's the reason why Dragon's playable. To be honest, you make Chaos Ruler more than Savage, so like if you have a Seal plus a Tracer and Recharge in the field, instead of going for like a Seal Savage inboard, it's actually more correct to instead go for Chaos Ruler and go mill 5, because like you can hit hand traps and you just get better follow-up. This card is insane. If this card gets banned, I actually just don't think Dragon will be playable anymore. Then Savage really just because of negate, and when you make it, you can force them to Nibiru right then, unless they have like Nibiru plus Gamma or Nibiru plus Valor. Because if they don't, then you can just negate the Nibiru if they don't have another hand trap to pair with it. So yeah, Savage is good. It's just usually if you can't make both, you will go for Chaos Ruler. And then because you're making Chaos Ruler more often, you can go Chaos Ruler plus Rocket Synchron to make Hot Red Dragon Archbeat, which is a really good card for follow-up and for negating. It just negates a face-up card in the field, which is really strong. But also in battle phase, you can attack with this. And if it does battle damage, you can special summon a tuner from a graveyard, which could be a Tracer or Rocket Synchron, which is really strong. That's it for the extra deck, and now we'll get into the side deck. I played 3 Jewel to beat matchups like the Bird matchup, the Mirror match for Dragon Link, and Drytron. Jewel's just really strong in the combo matchups. Now, never side this card in Sword Soul because to be honest, it's just terrible in that matchup. But yeah, I really like Jewel. It's just a good card, but I'm not main decking it. If I was to cut a main deck card, it would have to be Nibiru since it's the less generic. It's the least generic. However, this isn't a light hand trap. If it was a light hand trap, it would 100% be in the main deck. Then 3 Artifact Lancia. Good into Tri Brigade matchup, good into PKs, good into Dragon. It's just a really good card. Plus, it is indeed a light hand trap, meaning that you can search it off Chaos Ruler and banish it for Chaos Ruler and Black Dragon. Then I'll play 3 Twin to counter back row decks. This is the only back row removal I played, and to be honest, that was fun. When I play against Eldritch, I keep in the Ashes, I keep in the Imperms in my main deck, because the Imperm can turn off a Floodgate, Ash can hit the Sanguine, Twister is going to go in and take out Nibiru, and then, Lancia is going to go in over Valor. Now, I know Lancia is not great against Eldritch, but he can stall them for a turn, and like I said, it's a light hand trap. So that's usually why I'm siding into that matchup. Then I play 3 Dark Ruler just for big boards that I need help breaking. Dark Ruler is just really strong. I thought about main decking it, but you need hand traps in the main deck so you don't get Protossed against Sword Soul. Then for the last 3 cards, I play Imperial Order and the 2 anti-spells for going first. These cards are good. Just having a big board and your only out being a Dark Ruler to your board, and then you just have the out, is just really strong. Overall, I was really happy with the deck list. If you have any ideas or questions you have about the deck list, just comment it down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Sniper Team Leader out.